day one stakes. It was a great day. But right now, tactical land navigation is going on. We're not out on the course just because there's not much you'd be able to see. These rangers are out in the middle of the woods getting after it. Not so much fun. But we're going to be able to understand the actual task edition standards, and we'll show you a way to watch it digitally, but still pretty cool because you'll get to see your teams. So first, what are they doing tonight? They started off the night, when you look on the BlackOhm.com/BRC, at 9 different rendezvous points or start points for land navigation. Points are A through I as an Indian. From there, they're going to get a point, which they got at 8:15 to plot their point and determine the route. Then, at 8:30 on the dot, they actually started their movement over to their first lane. This is a star course, as we call it in land navigation, especially in the military. We give you a point, you have to go to that point. You cannot advance further in this event until you get to that point. So let's say your team, you start at point A as an Alpha. They give you point C as in Charlie. You're going to move all the way to point Charlie. When you get to point Charlie, they're going to say, good job, you made it. Now go to point I as an Indian. And you're going to do that on and on and on for 7 hours. Also, when you get to that 7-hour point, if you are not at that final point, it doesn't count. So there's a little bit of strategy here. If you get to your point at 6 hours, you've done all these points, and then now there's another point to go 4,000 more meters, maybe you don't take it, right? Maybe you're a little bit tired, you're not going to make it. Now, how do the points work? Well, every point is measured as a crow flies, so let's say from A to C, when you get to C. So if it's 3,000 meters, you get 3,000 meters added to your overall score. Let's say 3,000 points. What about penalties? Well, in this land navigation, you are never allowed to walk on a road that is navigable by a vehicle. So any kind of dirt trail that a vehicle can easily drive on, or any paved road or gravel road, is a no-go. You cannot walk on the road. Additionally, you cannot walk within 100 meters of that road. So sometimes we like to parallel in the Army, as in walk right nearby the road. If you're within 100 meters, that's a penalty. Now you can't cross roads, but you must cross at exactly 90-degree angle, push in 100 meters so you're not paralleling the roads, and then you continue your movement. Every time you violate and get a penalty, 500 meters is taken away from your overall movement. So if you did move 3,000 meters successfully, you got to your first point, but you made 2 violations, that would be 1,000 meters removed from your overall time or your points, and now you'd have 2,000 points opposed to 3,000. So it's very important that you got to follow those rules. How do we know? Once again, you go to blackohm.com/BRC, and you'll actually be able to see when you rewind time where my team started, wherever your favorite team is, whether it's 10, 40, 41, doesn't matter. Look where they are, and right now as they're moving out, you can see them moving their little emblems and their logos across the map. And so you'll be able to understand, like, oh, they started here, they're moving to another point, which was clearly a former start point for somebody else. That's a clear indicator of their first point that they're going to. And then you can measure it on Google if you really want to get crazy to figure out how many points they got there. Now, let's talk about the team placings. If you are in between 14th, maybe even 13th, down to 22nd, you're on the cusp. So those teams need to burn it down to make sure that they are in the top 16 teams. Only the top 16 teams by the end of tonight will advance to day 3. If you're in the top 4 teams, you know, because you got to the Darby, Camp Darby at approximately 1 to 2 p.m. You've been sitting there for 8 hours resting, and every one of you wants to win the competition. So you're probably not going to sit on your laurels. You're going to be moving out all night, point to point to point. There's no time for any breaks. So that's what's going on for tactical navigation right now. You can absolutely watch your teams. Let's talk tomorrow. Tomorrow, we're going to have an awesome final day, only 16 teams advance. We're going to start somewhere between 7:30 and 9. We'll make sure we're going to be present, so we'll go live. We're going to have 2 streams going. We're going to have this YouTube live, and then we're going to have Facebook live as well at the Best Ranger Competition website. So what we're going to do is try to get all the teams throughout the Warrior Training Center obstacle course, the CWSA, the Helo Cast, and the final buddy run. So you can bounce back and forth, try to find your favorite Best Ranger team. That way you enjoy the entire competition, especially if you can't make it in person. So that's going to be tomorrow. We hope to see you. We're very excited. Rangers lead the way, baby.